All right, good morning. Good morning. I have to say good morning because it is early. Good morning, YouTubers. This is AJ Copeland, and this is Topics to Go. Um, Today's topic is masculinity versus femininity. Now, that may be a word that don't exist, but for today, I got a word, okay? Femininity. Masculinity versus femininity. You know, in the community, um, there is, this major thing about who's the most masculine or who's femme, who's straight, who's gay, who's trade, all these different names uh, that goes on in the community that kind of divides us, that create a lot of judgmental thoughts and cause people to look at people in a way that is not right and in a way that is not fair. And so today, I thought maybe I have a conversation about these ideals and these thoughts as it relates to masculinity versus femininity. The first thing I want to talk about is femininity. Let's deal with that. And as I said before, that may not be a word, but for today, I'm going to use it. It's a word I created, all right? Um, when people think about men that are considered quote unquote femme, uh, they always want to compare them to females and say he's acting like a girl, he's looking like a girl, he's behaving like a girl. But in fact, that's not true. Uh, if the truth is told, uh, men that have those qualities are really unique because not even women act their way. Women don't even act the way they act. In fact, some women are taking on the attributes of those men, and you find a lot of women acting femme, even though they should automatically have that natural quality. So, this ideal that when men are femme, or femininity as a word I used, um, is trying to be a female or acting like a female is not really true. When you think about a drag queen, women don't dress the way drag queens dress. They don't act the way a drag queen act. They don't look like a drag queen, exception of a few. But so the first thing is really um, identifying the truth, and uh, it just for an individual to be femme, it just says that they're unique. Now I can understand why people will interpret that as someone trying to be a woman because it's something different and they're so unique and they don't know what else to identify it as. So when they think about femme, that's how they think. Now, the reason why there's so many judgmental thoughts, whereas a lot of quote unquote masculine men don't want to deal with quote unquote feminine men, is because it has nothing to do with their unique quality. It really has nothing to do with the fact that they're femme. It has more to do with the individuals. Most masculine men that are in the community of homosexuality and of gay uh, are on the quote unquote DL. Now, I'm not getting into download today. That will be a topic that I will address, but I won't talk about it today. But most men that are quote unquote DL don't want to deal with men with those unique qualities because it would give them off. They're afraid that if they are with somebody in that way, or they walk with somebody in that way, or they talk with somebody in that way, that it would show who they are as it relates to what they're attracted to and and who they're sleeping with. And so they try to stay away from individuals that are quote unquote femme. Okay? So that's the whole premise of masculinity versus femininity. Now, film guys are men for the most part, and that's separate from transgenders, individuals that mentally and emotionally feel like females. That's a totally different thing. So you can't compare a transgender to a film guy, or you understand what I'm saying? Because that's two separate entities. All right. A drag queen is a performer. All right. These are men that perform, or from time to time you may find drag queens that dress during the day in their drag. Uh, but believe me, they're dressing for a reason, okay? If they're dressing at night and they're not performing, they're usually on the street. Usually. Now, I don't want to stereotype, but usually they're on the street working the corner, okay? Um, some of them may have jobs, but they're more into the transgender aspect, or going through their transitioning. So it's really complex when you start talking about identification and titles and names, and it could be real complex within this community, and that's why it makes it so complicated and so difficult to develop healthy and good relationships, because people are trying to figure out who's who. And so it makes it real hard. But so what I'm really saying to you today is that um, there's nothing wrong with an individual that is femme naturally. Now let me explain to you what I mean. There's a learned behavior, and that is a natural behavior. And there are men that are naturally femme. They're not trying to be anybody. They're just being themselves. Now, how you can tell the difference between the natural and the learned behavior is the learned behavior is more of the extreme. They give off more. Those are the individuals that may try to be quote unquote like a female, or may trying to act like a female, because they're trying to do the extreme. And a lot of that happens is because it has a lot to do with internal issues about how they was treated when they were being rejected, and so they have this "I don't give a damn" attitude. And I don't give a damn attitude just basically mean I'm gonna be who I am, live like I want to live, do what I want to do, and I dare you to say anything about it. And so when they go before women, or they see women on the street or whatever the case may be, and they begin to act out to draw attention to themselves, mostly it has more to do with, hey, you got me to this place. I don't care. I've been rejected most of my life. You haven't accepted me for who I am, and at this point, I don't give a damn. So I'm gonna be who I am and dare you to say something about it. Those are the ones that to the extreme. But there are individuals that are femme and just naturally femme. That's just who they are. And so when it comes down to individuals judging them for that, it has more to do with internal issue with that individual, masculine men. So that's my take on femininity and how I feel about femme men. Okay, now let's deal with the masculine men. Now masculinity has kind of evolved. It's changed. Evolved to something totally different now, because when I was coming up, masculinity had more to do with what you did, the type of works that you performed. Did you play sports? Were you a mechanic? Did you drive a truck? What kind of toys you played with? It had more to do with the things that you did rather than your attributes and the way you act. And so now it's a combination of things. It's not only uh, what you do, it's also how you behave and how you act, and what your attributes and your attitude is, and how you carry yourself. But even that has gone into an area that is kind of shady and kind of strange in a way, because most people now look at masculinity as it's kind of negative in a way. I mean, if you think about it, women have gotten to the point where they've accepted disrespect, and they look at that as a masculine trait when a man does it. In other words, when a man called them bitches and whores and smile in their face, and you my bitch, you my hoe, they look at that as a masculine trait, when that shows that the man is strong and that he has control, and he just he rules me, he's my king. And that's how they see it, which is all crazy and all wrong. But that is what's going on. It's like When you think about trap boys, when you think about, because in the community it talks about trade, um, bisexuals and different things like that, and men that quote unquote are masculine, is how they carry themselves. In other words, they don't have any fem traits. They all man. But even that has been misinterpreted. Okay, because today, um, in this community anyway, when you look at masculinity, most gay men, primarily fem, sees masculine men mostly as trade, and mostly trade guys are the ones that are trap boys, drug boys that do things illegally, walk around with their pants down, smoking weed all day, not really working, not don't really have an education, not trying to do anything positive in the community, in their lives, shooting folks, killing folks, jumping on folks, all that kind of stuff is going on, and that's how a lot of film guys within the community look at masculine men. They see that as masculinity, which is not, but they see it as that. Someone like myself, conservative, I am weak. I'm considered weak within certain parts of the community, within certain circles. I'm too nice. I'm too kind. I'm too giving, too loving. That's not what they want. I'm considered the weak, even though I feel that I'm a very masculine man. But a lot of people may not look at it as masculinity, not because of how I carry myself as it relates to my attributes, how I move my hand, how I walk, how I talk, but it has more to do with how I treat them. And so a lot of people believe that if you're not treating me with disrespect, it's not showing any masculinity, you're weak. And so what does that do? That causes other issues as it relates to interacting with one another and developing good and healthy relationships, because everybody have all these different ideas of what is what, who is who, when it comes to masculinity versus femininity. Now, the reason why I said that when guys are femme, they are unique because they're not behaving as women do. And so this whole thing about, you acting like a woman, you trying to be a woman, it's untrue. It's not right. They're just being unique. That's all. They're different. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of young men that are that way grew up with women, and there was no man in the house to show them anything differently. And I admit they did um, create a sort of respect for those women, and they a lot of times wanted to be like them, but not per se wanted to be act like them as far as their manualisms, but they wanted to be more like them as far as the qualities of working hard, taking care of the family, making sure the food is on the table, teaching them, talking to them, loving them. That's what they want. That's what they grasp after. But of course, a lot of people, as I said earlier, misinterpret that whole idea. So, in this topic, masculinity versus femininity, I just wanted to give a clear understanding of what that means. Now, as I always said in my previous videos, you don't have to agree with everything that I say. Okay, I am here for the purpose of giving food for thought. I just want you to think about these things, because we are living in a very complex world, and this is a very complex community. And when you have individuals, people on the outside in other communities looking at this community, they are judging us based upon our actions and how we act in public. And so when they see film masculine men together, of course, there are going to be questions of what is that? Are they together? Is that a relative? But is it really important, or what individuals think outside of whatever relationship you all may have? And that's where the DL come in at. But DL can range anywhere from men that deal with gay men to men that are cheating on their wives, cheating on their girlfriends. So it has nothing to do with, DL. The whole idea of DL doesn't have anything to do with someone that is just cheating with gay men. Let me make that perfectly clear. Uh, um, DL also is not really DL, because if an individual is sleeping outside of their relationship with other individuals, then that individual that they're sleeping with know what they're doing. So it's not really a secret, as many people would say that it is, because the person you're sleeping with know that you slept with them, and you can't stop them from spreading that it happened to somebody else that can spread it to somebody else. And when that happens, it's no longer DL, because it's no longer a secret. Your secret is out. So this whole thing of, I don't want to be seen with you in public because you film. I want to, I get with you during the nighttime. I don't want to talk to you over the phone because your voice is too soft and you don't sound like a man. It has more to do with an individual internal issues that they're dealing with, the struggling with their own identity, and so that's why they're so judgmental about people that don't look and act like they do. So, what is my purpose? My purpose is primarily is hoping that we can get past these things, and that people can accept individuals for who they are, no matter what. Now, I agree. There are situations where people are to the extreme, and nobody wants a whole lot of attention. I don't. Of course, I'm getting it now. I'm doing these videos, but I try to be a very private individual. I try not to get too much of my business out there. Um, so I do understand why individuals would not want somebody with them, or walking with them, or talking with them, that brings a lot of attention by doing just crazy stuff out in public. So I agree with that. I can understand that. But other than that, just to assume that a person is a certain way because they don't look and act like you, it's just the wrong thought to have. And so the battle needs to stop within the community, and we should come together and try to understand one another and try to understand our differences, because we are not all the same in this world. We all are different. I'm different. You're different. We all are different in this world. And so we want to try to understand each other's differences and try to make it work and make it happen for a positive thing to happen within all communities, that we can, love each other, appreciate one another, because that's what I'm all about. I talked about in previous videos that I'm all about integrity and character. I'm all about us working together and loving each other and trying to build a sense of understanding why we are who we are, and what our purpose is and why we exist. All these things is important. You're going to be judged, and you're going to be talked about, and you're going to be looked at differently. That's going to happen. But how you deal with those criticisms is what going to make the difference. So, when dealing with masculine men, um, like I said, the whole ideal of masculinity has changed, as the same ideal of femininity has changed. But I'm giving you some food for thought, my ideal and my thought on it, and my view on it, and I hope that you can see how I see it, and hopefully, the next time you see somebody that is femme, or somebody that is masculine, that you can identify the true self of who they are, and not what you think they are, because it's not all about, quote unquote, femmes trying to be a girl, and it's not all about a masculine man trying to be a man, because if he's masculine, he's just masculine. It's natural. He's supposed to be. It's just what it is. A film guy is just unique. He's just different, but it doesn't erase the fact that he's a man. He's still a man. And so you got two individuals coming together that is different and unique. One is naturally masculine, which he's supposed to be masculine, naturally masculine. And the other one is naturally, uniquely different by being femme. And then you have the one in the middle, which is the one that's to the extreme, the one that wants the attention, the one that is trying to be a girl, or trying to be a woman. And the reason why you say try, because they're not succeeding. They're trying, but they just have not succeeded. So trying and being. Okay? You have two individuals just being who they are, and you have one individual that's trying to be what they're not. I thank you so much for your time. Again, I'm AJ Copeland. This is Topics to Go. And hey, I'm out of here again. I had to come with this topic. It was kind of in my head, and I got up early this morning to present it to you. But I got to get out of here. Hey, remember, catch a topic or two. Hope to see you soon. Later.